I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein. Welcome to the Daily Fire. It is July 29th. I'm a huge advocate for feminism, and there's probably no better advocate for children than I, Mark Stewart Greenstein. Radical feminists don't help either cause. They do not help women, and they at times kill babies. I respect women's dignity. I'm not convinced that radical feminists do, because they don't respect women's differences, inherent and built up over many generations sociologically. They'd like to eradicate them. They have a different agenda than you. They have their own agenda, and it does not coincide with your happiness. Part of it is anti-men. Much of it is anti-reliance on men, and when that comes across the board, it leaves many women unhappy. Some reliance is a healthy thing. Ask anyone who's been married a long time. Folks who've listened to the radical feminist agenda have been duped if they buy into that everything's the same and we have to equalize everything. So, it leads to arguments, policy arguments, that are bad for most people, that the radicals consider mothering to be a burden. Well, it's just not true. This is contradicted every single month when you see a gleeful pregnant woman about to give birth in a few months, happy to have even strangers feel the heartbeat in her tummy, being treated very well by many of us who consider what she's doing beautiful, and some of us who consider her doing the epitome of God's work, giving birth. Radical feminists, in the idea of liberation from everything, and certainly liberation from things that differ from what men do, end up taking away the joys of motherhood. Men can't have those joys. That's a difference. Not sure how the radicals feel about that one. How do we know women like motherhood? Well, so much so that many have babies 10 years after giving birth the first time. So, are these many years later second-time moms, third-time moms, that stupid? The radical feminists would have you believe that. Let me apply this. As governor, there's probably nothing I'll be called on to do in a liberal state like Connecticut. I can't make legislation. I'll give you two hypotheticals. One pretty far-fetched, one more realistic. Far-fetched. A suddenly Mississippi-like General Assembly passes a law that would criminalize abortions. I would not sign it if it were criminalizing women having them. I would for doctors. And here's the difference. For 2 generations now, many of us have sucked on the wrong Kool-Aid about, a baby is a part of a woman's body, instead of the fact that it is its own and it happens to be in a woman's body. And even if it were part of a woman's body, there is a selfishness that we shouldn't dignify if you're going to abort instead of take a baby to term. Women have been hearing over and over again, the consequences are it's just a procedure, instead of hearing that you're killing a baby. Doctors, on the other hand, they know what the killing is. They know because they've seen the photographs, the videos. This is a 4-fold violation of what doctors are supposed to do. It violates your professional oath. It is evil because you know better. It is evil because you have a chance to counsel and don't. I would consider a bill that includes criminalizing abortions done by doctors. The doctor has done harm in 3 ways. 1, violating his or her professional oath to do no harm. 2, to fail to counsel to the better options, which include giving birth, giving it up the baby if needed to a loving couple that would take care of the baby so well. And 3, you know better, okay? You haven't been duped by propaganda. You've seen photos. You have been right in with video at minimum, if not the procedure itself, about a live or about to be alive, fully human being being snuffed out. So I would not criminalize against women having an abortion. I would consider a bill that criminalizes it for doctors. All right, now, the less far-fetched one is, I respect town-by-town choices, and even enclave by enclaves, where if one town in Connecticut said, we don't want to have an abortion facility here, I don't think that some Supreme Court decision of nearly 50 years ago should override the choices of a community that, whether it's for devotion, whether it's for the unseemliness, whether they consider it to be murder, they've decided to keep that procedure out. That might even be smaller than a town itself. There are enclaves within a town, and I respect them. There might be a more devout group in Unionville, part of Farmington, than in the eastern part, the home of UConn Hospital, for example. So, let small groups make decisions. This doesn't impede any woman's right to have a procedure because it takes a 20-minute ride to a town where there is a clinic. All right, you've heard my stance. I hope it can help to convince those of you who might have been for many years drinking the rights-only, freedom-only Kool-Aid and realize you're trampling on the most important right, the right to life.